Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for full moon in Gemini, and this one is happening on the 27th of November, sorry. I'm already in December, and this is the first full moon after the eclipses, and there are still messages coming to us from eclipses. Let's not forget that we are still not fully out of the eclipses season, and there are going to be some probably significant messages that will reveal to us things that have been happening in previous couple of months, especially because this is the Gemini full moon, and it's ruled by Mercury, the messenger. It rules our communication, our words and thoughts. So news and messages, they will be coming in a big way. And because this is the full moon energy, full moon always brings some revelation, disclosure, acknowledgement. It brings necessary adjustments, changes, transformations, releases, letting go, endings, culminations, closures, completions, dramas, fruitions, fulfillments. You know, something is coming to a head, or something is coming to a fruition, or something is coming to an end. This is what full moon's energies bring. They definitely reveal something. There is an illumination happening. Something is going to be illuminated, and it will probably come through words and communication because it's Gemini energy. And you know, this full moon shines a light on our communication. It shines a light on our thoughts, on our words, on our opinions, on our beliefs as well, on our lies as well, on our ability to listen, or on our ability to let others feel heard, on our ability to communicate our thoughts in an authentic way, in a way that we don't hurt anyone else, in a way that is true. Some truth will be revealed. Gemini is about the facts and the truth, so some truth may be revealed. We are going to be faced with our own lies, our own deceptions. Where are we deceiving ourselves? Where are we lying to ourselves? And when are we doing that in our conversations with others? What kinds of lies do we use? We are going to see that we are probably lying more than we thought, and we have to confront these things. These are most are self-deceptions, and we are going to see that our voice changes when we speak truth, and when we speak things that are not true, our voice is different, and many of us will be able to recognize this. And Gemini is the sign of the twins, so we are going to be faced with our own twin, our own inner double, our dark twin, our lover, our brother, our sister, our significant other, all these significant relationships in our lives. And this full moon teaches us that everyone is our twin, whether we like that or not. Everyone is our twin, because everyone reflects some aspect of ourselves, whether it is, seen or unseen aspect that we know of. And we mostly see and project in others that what we don't see in ourselves, or what we suppress within ourselves. So we're going to see more of that coming out. And, you know, big news and messages are delivered to us now. And certain messages and news may disturb us, but they will definitely make some change in our mind. We may change our opinions, change our thoughts, change our mind, bring mental refreshment, mental rejuvenation. This is the story of oneness, of separation from oneness, and of reunion with oneness. So this is the process, the cycle that is actually happening from the beginning. It always repeats. This is how our mental world is shaped in these processes of, oneness, separation, and reunion in that oneness. So separation is definitely needed, like in the story of the Gemini's myth of Castor and Pollux. They are the twin brothers, but one is mortal and one is immortal, and they are separated. And there is this grief that has to happen because of the separation, but then this reunion has to happen. So some kind of sacrifice also has to happen so that we can become aware of what we have lost and from what we are separated. So we are going to reunite with that from which we have separated. And of course, on the soul level, on the highest expression, highest octave of all these energies, this is the root separation from our source, separation from our essence, and the illusion of separation that pushes us into the suffering, which then teaches us how to grow. These are, the rules of the game that we are in, and we are going to see with greater clarity now the bigger picture. We may be able to connect the dots of how life works, and the bigger picture is possible to be seen now because the sun is in Sagittarius and it's together with Mars. Sun and Mars are in conjunction in Sagittarius, opposing this full moon in Gemini. And there is a square with Saturn in Pisces. So we are going to take responsibility for what we say. Otherwise, we will experience things that we don't like. So we have to take responsibility for our words, for our thoughts, for our intentions, for seeds that we are planting now. And we may have a need to impose our will onto others. We may have a need to fight to prove our point. Mars and Sun in Sagittarius, sign of, sign that can be preaching. We may have a need to preach, to, impose our opinion, to prove that my opinion is the only one that is true. So we have to train ourselves to be more open-minded, to accept different perspectives. We definitely have to learn how to accept perspectives of others. And, if we accept their perspectives, it doesn't mean that we have given up on our own perspective. We just accept their perspective, but we stay true to our own perspective. And who knows, maybe we change our perspective by taking into consideration other people's points of view and angles, because there are many different angles, many different truths. What is true for me is not true for you. We know that very well. But we forget that when we come in connection with others, when we exchange our energies and thoughts and opinions with others, we forget that what I think may not be true for the other person. So we're going to have to practice that patience, and to learn to step back, to be mature, to use our words wisely. Saturn in Pisces, to use our words very wisely, to be very much aware of the intention behind those words, and to think before we speak, definitely, because we may have a tendency to speak before we think. So let's not forget this. And we are invited to recognize our mortal and immortal selves, and just as Castor and Pollux, one is mortal, one is immortal. And we are going to search for that immortal part in ourselves, and we are actually suffering to meet that immortal part of ourselves. We are in a lot of pain because we are separated from that part of ourselves, and we don't really believe that this part exists. Many people don't believe in that at all. We are just focused on material side of life, on this body, like the body is all that I have. But we are much more than our bodies, and this full moon again is that kind of reminder, because we are going to have an opportunity to go beyond thoughts. This square with Saturn in Pisces will give us that opportunity as well. And there is a trine aspect. Trine is supportive and friendly, and it will give us support from our own shadow, from our own dark twin. We will be supported now to connect with that dark twin, to connect with our darkness, to connect with our shadow, because this full moon is making a trine with Pluto. Pluto, the lord of the underworld. Pluto, the lord of the previous lunation that happened 2 weeks ago, new moon in Scorpio. So we are going to reveal something dark that we have to face, and thanks to this dark twin, we will be able to meet our immortal part of ourselves. And this is, we are able to heal that inner split that is happening within ourselves, this separation, the root separation from our essence. We are standing between those two pillars that I spoke about a lot in last year's full moon in Gemini video. There is a lot of symbology in that one, but I won't repeat that story now. But we are right between those two pillars, waiting for revelation of the hidden third pillar of stability. That third pillar is created when we can balance between the mortal and immortal side of ourselves, between our personality and our essence, between our fake selves and our authentic selves. And we are going to find that passage right between those two pillars. The essence is right there. It is between two words. Between two words. There is that emptiness between two words. There is that silence between two words. When we are saying something, that pause, that silence between is very important. Just like in music, we need to have that little pause between melodies, between words, between expressions, and in that emptiness that is full of pure sound, pure wisdom, pure words that shape our worlds. So let's build world with our pure words and intentions. Let's inhale the breath of stability. And we are definitely supported now because Gemini is the mutable sign, and it's the dual sign, the sign that is adaptable. And in the opposite sign of Sagittarius, we have the Sun and Mars. Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is also in Sagittarius. So we have Sagittarius and Gemini, both mutable signs. We have their energies happening, and we also have in Pisces happening. Pisces is another mutable sign. We have 4 mutable signs, 4 fixed signs, 4 cardinal signs, and 4 mutable signs. So mutable signs are Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. And now we have the connection between all these mutable signs except Virgo. The field of Virgo is empty. There are no actors there. There is no scene there. So the exit of this pressure and of overthinking that we may be feeling, of paranoid thoughts, of lies and deceptions and fantasies, and feeling like we're losing our mind, being mentally confused and reckless, is in Virgo archetypes. And this is about pure thoughts, pure words, purity on all levels, cleanliness, cleansing our mind, our body, our soul, being able to maintain our emotional, mental, and physical hygiene, being able to maintain our stability, our mental, emotional, physical stability, doing things that are healthy for us, changing our habits and routines so that we can self-improve. This is about the self-development, self-betterment. So through that energy, we can make the most out of this full moon's energy, through keeping ourselves pure on all levels. So let's not forget, we have to train our mind and in the same way as we train our body. We should never forget that on a daily level, we process so many information. We process so many messages and news, and there is so much happening in the background that we don't know. And we are definitely going to feel this weight of thoughts. So we definitely have to work on cleansing and healing and creating that well-being for ourselves. So we have to do it continuously. This is our everyday job. Virgo, our everyday routine has to be to work on our mental health and purity. So we definitely have to see what kind of information we receive, what kind of information we feed ourselves with, what kind of news, messages, thoughts prevail in our everyday life, with what kind of thoughts we go to sleep. That's very important. With what kind of thoughts we wake up. So with what kind of thoughts we fall asleep and with what kind of thoughts we wake up. This is what completely shapes our world. These kinds of things are what completely shapes our world. So we are going to be more able to focus on those moments when we go to sleep and when we wake up. And we are going to work on improving ourselves, because we have the power to refocus, to change our focus, to change our perspectives. We can do this now, and we can reconsider certain things in life, and we can give them new meaning. You know, we can truly give them new meaning. And you know, belief systems that we have about ourselves, that we have accepted to be true, we can reevaluate them now. You know, we can change them anytime. We have to make sense of things. We definitely need to have some meaning. Sagittarius energy, Gemini energy. We need a meaning, and we need truth. And truth definitely sets us free. Truth, Gemini, freedom, Sagittarius. And we are going to learn from everything. Everything is our teacher. You know, this is also energy of student and teacher, Gemini, Sagittarius. And as I always say, we're going to see that we are at the same time students and teachers. All of us to all of us. All of us to each other. We are always student and teachers for everyone around us. You know, I can be a student and a teacher of my family, my close friends, my relatives, people from my close surroundings, and others are my students and teachers also. So we are always in that kind of relationship. And if we look at our relationships in that way, I promise you that your perspective will change about, you know, certain things that happen in our life and certain things that we don't like in our relationships, especially because those are our greatest lessons. There are our greatest powerful tools for growth and personal improvement. And, you know, we can now see more of the truth, see more of what's hidden, because full moon brings to light everything that was hidden before. Things that have been impossible to see, things that have been denied, ignored, neglected, avoided, they come up to the surface. Things that haven't been visible. So there is, this full moon brings a lot of truth to the surface. And this is mental energy, very intellectual. It's about the way we think, the way we communicate. And universe is calling us to see truth and to take action, to get there, to get to the truth. And Mars in Sagittarius is truly helpful if we know how to use that energy in a constructive way, rather than using it to compete with others. Because we may have that tendency to compete with others about, you know, in knowledge, in opinions, in skills. We will have a need to prove that we are bigger, better, stronger, smarter, whatever, in superlative. We will want to prove ourselves to someone. Someone's comment or opinion may really trigger us deeply, and this is very good for us to see what is that, why is that triggering us, what is hidden in there, what is locked in there, because those triggers are always our assistants, always helping us to see what is wrong, what is out of balance, what we are not in peace with. Those triggers show us where we still have problems and disbalances, and we will be able to connect with elements in a more intimate way, to see that these elements that exist in our world and in our bodies are integral part of us. Air, Gemini is an air sign. Air is breath. It's connected to breathing. So breath is very important. Breathing is very important. How we breathe can change our mind. The way we breathe can change our mental pattern. So breathing is very important. Fire element is our spirit. Fire is our spirit. Water element, water is our blood. And earth is our body. So we will be able to connect with those elements and to make the whole with them, to make whole with ourselves, with our breath, with our spirit, with our blood, and with our body. We have to bring that into the symphony. It has to be synchronized. And how do we do that? As I said, through that Virgo 6th house principles of purity, of everyday work, of conscious effort on cleaning ourselves and taking care of our well-being, of our mental, emotional, and physical well-being and cleanliness. So we have to do it every day. And I mentioned this many times, but this is really important to be done always. We cannot, do this couple of days and then stop. It won't have any effect. These kinds of things have to be our modus operandi, our way of living. And just as we have to clean our house very often, just as we have to take shower every day, we have to maintain ourselves, maintain our house, maintain our body. We have to maintain our mind and our heart. And we have to unlearn so many things. This full moon in Gemini, because Gemini is about knowledge, it's about learning and teaching and sharing information, storytelling, truth-telling, being social, connecting, exchanging information, sending news and messages, writing letters, writing messages. It's transport, it's a connection with people, it's communication. So we are definitely going to see things that we have to unlearn, and to test and question everything that we know. We may see that many things that we thought we know are not true anymore. Those beliefs that we had not valid anymore. So we are going to be given an opportunity to leave behind those beliefs and teachings that once worked, but now they don't work for us, because we have grown, we have evolved. We have been through many transformations lately with these eclipses. We are not the same. We are not the same person as we were yesterday. We are always changing. And if we were more aware of this, our lives would be much more interesting and adventurous. We would feel much more alive every day, because we are always new. We are always renewed. Every day when we wake up, we are a new person. We are not the same who we were yesterday. And we are going to see how we changed. We are going to see what are the crucial things that have changed, and how can we apply this now, and what old beliefs need to go, so that we can move on and live with that newness, with that transformation. And we have an opportunity to understand thought processes, to understand those mental processes, to understand our impulses. There is a tendency within us to question our thinking, to think about how we think, where words come from, where thoughts come from, how are they formed, and why certain thoughts have such a strong impact on ourselves. Why do we feel attached to certain way of thinking? Why are we addicted to certain way of thinking? What are our mental addictions? Because we have many mental addictions, and we are going to be able to see through them, to see where they come from, why are they important. And just that process of thinking about how we think will help us break through certain mental barriers that we have. It's going, it's very nice energy for gathering our thoughts, and we are going to see how this works. We are going to see why certain thoughts are there, those that are very stubborn, that repeat, that are there for a very, very long time, that haunt us. What are our haunting thoughts, and are they constructive or are they destructive? What do we do with them? How they change our life, how they change the quality of my life, and what kind of power do I have? Am I powerless when it comes to those thoughts? What are my weaknesses? Writing is very good and healing during this time, very powerful. Mercury energy and Gemini and Sagittarius, very good for writing. We can write a letter to ourselves. That's also very good and healing. We can write a letter to somebody else where we are going to say and express everything that we want to say, that we have to say, that we never get a chance to say in person. Writing is much more intimate. When we write something, we have more, there is this spaciousness of time, and it's more intimate. We have different perspective then of our thoughts and feelings, and it's much better. So we don't have to give those letters to anyone. We are writing them for ourselves, for our own mental processes and inner emotional processes. And we are going to see where we are overthinking. Overthinking may be very, very strong now. And, some people may have difficulties with paranoid thoughts and anxiety that comes from those mental attachments and addictions. But as I said, this purity, this work on healing our mind, body, and soul is the key. It's holding the key. And Saturn in Pisces is also holding the key, taking responsibility for ourselves and not being attached to our thoughts, observing our thoughts, not letting them control us, not allowing our thoughts to rule us, because we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions, and we are also learning that during this time. And there we will have a lot of philosophical thoughts as well. Philosophical thought will be very, very strong. But Sagittarius energy also has a high degree of that need for spiritual pursuit, for spiritual practice, for spiritual higher meaning, for reaching the higher selves. So we will be able to learn more about how to get there, how to get out of mental anxiety, how to heal ourselves, feeling of like, I now understand the root of the problem. We will be able to see the root of the problem, ability to emotionally perceive our purpose, and how can I be in the safest, most direct, safest way? How can I simplify things? Less complexity. Let's simplify things, and let's see how we can bring ourselves into harmony and balance with who we are. There is also this fear of insignificance that will be strong. And we are going to see that we complicate things because of this fear of insignificance. Because then, when we complicate things, we have a feeling that we have something to solve. We have something to fight with, which is good. It's also a program, but we are, through that program, we are learning about our fears. We are learning about how to become more simple, how to simplify ourselves. Because when we go through those complexities and complications and search for resolutions, we're going to understand that all that we are searching for is peace of mind. We are only searching for peace of mind. And that's the highest expression of this energy, to be mentally stable and to have mental peace. And we definitely have great support for this. Saturn in Pisces really brings high mental stability, because Saturn is about stability, it's about structures, it's about methods, it's about something that is long-term, that is concrete. So we are going to be able to build something very strong, to build our mental muscles with compassion, because it's in Pisces. More compassion. We have to work on compassion, on understanding others, not judging them immediately, not judging their opinions or their truth, because we have to understand that everyone is at different level of being. And if that level of being interrupts with our own level of being, we don't have to always get into conflict and defend ourselves and attack others. We don't have to be in that kind of relation. We can change the game. Only one side is needed to change the game of the whole atmosphere of relationship. If I choose to play differently, then the game loses the point, then the game changes. So we are the game changers now. Definitely, we have control in our hands to change the game and to know the answers. They are going to receive answers, knowing why certain things are part of our lives, why certain people are part of our lives, and to recognize multiplicities in our lives. Gemini doubles everything. It doubles everything that we do. So we may have to do things twice. We may have to learn something again. We may have to say something again. We may have to have that conversation again. It's double energy and multiplicities. Working multiple jobs, dating multiple people, meeting with more people than we can handle, multitasking, doing things just for the sake of doing them, which can be distractive very much. So we may want to lose ourselves in those distractions, just not to stay with ourselves. But we definitely have to have some balance. But we may have a need to go into extremes and to exaggerate, because of Sagittarius energy, Sun and Mars in Sagittarius. There is exaggeration and a need to do something to go over the limit. But balance and harmony, well-being, health, healthy routines and habits, setting healthy boundaries, knowing that everyone is our twin, knowing that our dark twin will meet us with our immortal part, and knowing that we have to meet that archetype of twin, the doubling, and to see fragmentation of our soul investments, and to experience many dialogues, many monologues with ourselves. We may want to do everything, we don't want to say no to anything. We want it all, but we will have to just step back and try to work on that mental stability and mental peace. Meditation is very healthy and healing during this time, and just being able to listen. It's about listening a lot. Gemini is not only about words and talking, it's also about being able not to talk, being able to listen, being able to hear the silence, and to understand that there is wisdom in that silence too. And then we can feel the weight of thoughts, but also to experience the wealth of thoughts. And we are working on that mental wealth. We need it, and we cannot afford overthinking now. And if we feel we are going in that direction, don't worry, because that's the kind of energy that is now present, but it will eventually take us to that moment of being able to connect with ourselves, to just feel peaceful, to breathe. Breathing is the key. Just being aware of breathing is the key. Just being aware that we inhale and exhale. That can always, calm us down. And what we can do is, when we are calm, when we are peaceful, we can remember our breathing during that time. Let's remember how we breathe when we are in that state of being. And then when we feel that we are being run by our thoughts, that we are going into that overthinking, let's remember that breathing and let's apply it in that moment. We need to make conscious effort. Without that effort, nothing will be created. So we have to, create and meet our map of thoughts, our mental map, mental networks. They are huge, and we are going to meet some of them to see them to zoom them in. We will be able to zoom in and zoom out from our mental networks to see that with greater capacity, to see that from the higher vantage point. We will be able to do that, to recognize different parts and how they create the bigger picture. And as I said, those thoughts that we have when we go to sleep and when we wake up, if they are fearful, if they are paranoid, then we are definitely invited to work on solving those things. And solving those things now is good. And we should never fall asleep with those kinds of thoughts. If we feel them, it's much better to get up and to do something. It's much better to get up from the bed completely and to change your focus. Just change the focus. Do something that will infuse you with powerful, inspiring moments and things. Let's have examples that are encouraging and empowering, that remind us of why we are here, that remind us to trust life, which is the highest possibility that we are given now, to trust life always, no matter what it gives us or what it takes away from us. Because when we trust life, there is really not so many things that we have to worry about. Then there is no over worrying. But we have to make that effort, as I said, putting effort. That Virgo house sign that is empty is talking about efforts and hard work. So we have to do some hard work and put some efforts to make that work, to build those mental muscles. And if we feed negative thoughts and emotions, they grow, of course, they grow big. So instead of feeding them, we should stop and look at them with curiosity. We should explore them, like we should be inspired to meet them. We should see that as an invitation for an adventure. Like, okay, let's see what's in there. Let's see what's inside, what's beyond, what's behind that thought. What brought that thought right there? What connected it to me? What's underneath that trigger that I have? So we will be empty to see that. It's time to work with that. Mind is great part of that. And, you know, we are going to be able to meet human mind, to meet it and to have a closer look at the human mind and also the language, to understand language and the power of words, the language of human heart as well, the universal language that we all understand. You know, we don't have to know the words in order to understand each other. You know, language of human heart is really, really powerful now. Just changing our posture can change our whole frequency and perception. You know, just by smiling at someone, it changes completely everything. By hugging someone, it's also expression, it's a language. Our facial expression says a lot. So how we look at someone, how we smile at someone, those things are very, very important. And what we do and how we express ourselves, what we say and how we express ourselves physically and mentally and verbally, is what reflects back at us. So we definitely have to work on improving our expressions, our verbal and physical expressions, and to use more of that universal language that everyone understands, because words can be very tricky. You know, we don't always understand something that is said in the same way. You know, somebody maybe thought one thing, but it is said in a completely different way, and it's understood in a completely third way. So we have to be very careful with words and with whom we share those words, what kind of information we share with people. You know, we cannot say everything to everyone. You know, we have to know exactly who are the people who can hear us for certain things. Not everyone is definitely able to hear us in the same way. Everyone will hear us in a different way. You know, I can tell a story in my way, and if I have 10 listeners, there are going to be 10 different versions of that story, 10 different perceptions. So we have to be aware of this, you know, very aware. And you know, we have to deconstruct some of our mental formations or repetitive thought sequences. We are going to be able to deconstruct them now, and to see that many of our thought processes are habitual. Definitely. That's why when we change our habits, we change our mind as well. And also when we change our breathing, we change our mind. When we change our expressions, we change our mind. You know, just as I said now, when we give a smile, we change our mind because we receive that good energy back sooner or later, definitely. But we don't do it because of that. We do it because we enjoy it in that moment. We truly enjoy doing it. But we have to start practicing this every day, every day. And deconstruction of mental formations are, you know, adding fuel to the fire for what those triggers are. And we have to work on forming new mental formations. This is mental workout, very, very strong. And we are going to see that there is a lot of mixed truth and lies in this world, of course, and that's also very tricky. When truth and lies are mixed, we don't know what to believe, or we are being misled because we see some parts of truth there and we think that everything that is said there is true. But this full moon is going to reveal certain lies and is going to show us the truth. So we are going to see where are we being deceived and how are we deceiving ourselves as well. And to see the difference between, you know, educational system and true education, higher education, our natural education of life, nature, what nature is teaching us, what our body is teaching us, what our heart is teaching us. This is definitely energy that gives us this opportunity to look at our blind beliefs and to question things that we think are true. On a collective level, this will be also very much expressed through news and social media and some information that may be exposed. Some things from the darkness may be exposed, from the unseen world will be exposed. This trine with Pluto, but this trine it means that this is a very much needed and wanted exposure. This is something that will bring healing. This is something that will give us a relief in our individual life and in collective life. As within, so without, as above, so below. There is no difference between collective and individual. It's just as I said, everyone is our twin. Everyone that we look at, whether we like it or not. So we are going to connect the dots and to see how to work with this Mars conjunction Sun energy that may be pushing us into that dark side of Sagittarius that has a need, to be to hold on so strongly to certain religious view, to certain belief, to certain opinion, to certain perspective. This is the preacher archetype, trying to convert everybody based on their blind belief. So we are going to be able to recognize those patterns and to get out of certain fanatic ways of thinking, but also we may see the exposure of those fanaticisms and the exaggeration of those beliefs. There is this quality of self-righteousness in these beliefs. A lot of wounds will be brought to surface. It's not easy energy. There are squares. There is opposition with Mars and the Sun, and the Mars and the Sun together are making a square with Saturn. So it's not very, comfortable energy, but it will be expansive. We can, stretch our mind, stretch our perception, expand it, broaden our vision. We are able to see and say, oh, now I see, now I know, now I recognize the problem, now I see, suddenly I feel how it works. So we can now, realize something, and there is this epiphany happening. We are entering the higher octave of Gemini. It's not easy to reach, but it's, looking at all the facts and, with rational mind, raw truth, raw facts, instead of falling into dogmas and, those blind beliefs. We can develop a true perception now, a true perception of reality. And, communication, thought, perception, words, they are the keys now. And also silence and listening, meditation, where we detach from all terms that there are, from all beliefs, from all educational systems. We withdraw into the wisdom of our being. We connect with our immortal part, with our immortal twin. But we have to walk through our dark twin fields in order to meet that immortal twin. But we have to bring them together, as I said, standing between those two pillars, waiting for the hidden third pillar of stability to reveal itself. And it will reveal itself once we are able to stand balanced between those two pillars, because we may go either to one side or the other side, left and right brain hemispheres, masculine and feminine, black and white, good and evil, life and death, day and night, all the polarities, yin and yang. all the possible polarities. There is wisdom in this polarity. Without polarity, we would never be able to reach anything, to understand anything. We need this polarity, we need this duality, but we are also able to unite ourselves in that duality, to recognize that we are all of that, that we are dual beings, that we are not either or, we are so much more. And being open-minded to understand reality. Gemini at its core is actually a sign of perception. So everything is in perception. Everything is in how we see it, in how we interpret it, and we are able to change our minds, to change our opinions, to change our perspectives. This is something that has to happen in our life. Imagine if we always stay stuck in one perception for whole life. We are, as we grow and mature and learn more things and upgrade our knowledge and install wisdom within ourselves, we change our minds, we change our thoughts, we change our perspectives. This is what is happening now. So, we are going to ask ourselves, can I confront my wounds? Can I confront my traumas? Can I look inside of myself and take responsibility of what I'm thinking and creating? This is time for mental work, to look within, to do some journaling, to make our minds stronger, to write down letters to ourselves, to write about how we feel, about what we need, about what we think, what we don't think, what we don't say, to break up those inner obstacles and mental distortions that keep us from fully self-actualizing, writing down our weaknesses, seeing the areas of our life that we have to work on, identify these things within ourselves, with our mind, with our focus. We have to have strong focus, strong concentration. We may be engaging in too many activities. That is why it's very important to not scatter our mental energy, but to keep it together and to let those outdated mental patterns dissolve, because they will be dissolving. Let's not try to hold them back. Whatever dissolves, let it dissolve. And let's not identify with our thoughts. There is a great example. I forgot who said it, but if we are looking at thoughts, we can look at them as the clouds, and the sky is our consciousness. The clouds are our thoughts. The clouds come and go, and the sky doesn't identify itself with clouds. The sky is always clear behind the clouds, but the clouds come and they can cover the sky completely. They can cover the sun. Clouds can be dark and scary. They can be all kinds of clouds, but they come and go, just as our thoughts. They come and go. Let's remember that we have our pure consciousness always there in the background. It's always there, our pure consciousness. So we don't have to identify with every thought that comes up to us. So let's just not give so much attention to certain thoughts. When we give them attention, they grow stronger. But we have ability now and power to focus on constructive things, on things that really matter. To remove ourselves from meaningless data, from meaningless information, from meaningless overload of just junk information, junk news, junk data. We have to remove that from ourselves, and to see what kind of information we take in, what kind of information we have to throw out. There will be a lot to cleanse. There is always a lot that we have to just remove from our mind, and not to give it attention, but just to let it pass. And misinformation is also very strong. So that's why it's also important to be very persistent, which is now possible, and we are supported to be persistent in being mentally stable with Saturn in Pisces there. This square is actually good, because if there was no this square, maybe we would just fly into some extreme, or just feel like we are losing our mind. But Saturn is there holding the strings, holding it tightly, not letting us go into some delusional way of thinking and into some fanaticism, even though it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but when we know these things, there is definitely less possibility that this will happen. When we know our tools, we have all the tools that we need within ourselves. We have all the tools already installed within ourselves to bring the best quality life for ourselves. We have them all. We just have to know how to use them. We just have to know that these things really work. We have the power within ourselves. We don't have to carry our old mental patterns anymore. We don't have to carry these guilt patterns anymore as well. Large part of guilt that we carry and feel, so we cannot free ourselves. We have to, work on that, not to be attached to that projected world, not to be attached so much to those traumas that we carry within ourselves, but to be able to come to them with curiosity, as I said, to be curious about those things, not afraid of them, but curious and willing to work with them, to collaborate with them, to be able to change ourselves. Some people don't want to change. They're like, I'm not changing my mind, for nothing. But that's just steady way of living. That's dead life. There is nothing alive there. Everything moves in life. Everything is always in some motion. So we have to, in the same way, our mind is always changing. And it's not normal and it's not natural to stay in one same way of thinking for a very long time. This is when it becomes, hard to live, hard to communicate, because we are not flexible. We have to be adaptable. This Gemini full moon, Gemini is mutable, adaptable sign. So we have to be more adaptable. We have to be able, to align with changes. If things change, we have to align ourselves with those changes. We cannot go against the flow, because that's not how it works in nature. We have to use our natural wisdom that we have within ourselves to work with these energies. We are going to work on freeing ourselves from beliefs that we have carried within us that are rooted in our being, that are not serving us. But we are going to see where we have this lack of self-trust, because this energy is teaching us how to trust ourselves, how to be able to identify with that consciousness that is behind those clouds, those thoughts that come and go. They come and go, let them come and go. Don't give them too much attention. Remember, you have pure consciousness, you have all the tools within yourselves. Those fear-based structures, they will be more evident now, and that's good, because we will be reminded of what needs to be worked on. If we hold on to them, we will see that, and we will be also able to see our mind games and how our mind plays games, and to detach from those games, to be able to see how it manipulates, and how words can also be manipulative. So we can detach from it and observe it, see it from see the bigger picture of those things. Stay away from being bombarded with mess of irrelevant and disconnected information. We don't have to be right all the time. We don't have to have all the answers. That's impossible. Let's admit it. Let's not argue because of those things. We may have that need, in our relationships now to be right and to prove that we are right, but that's not really important. Let's remember what's truly important: to have mental stability and peace of mind. That's the highest octave that we are searching for now, that we are thirsty of. We definitely need this. And this is, we need to have the credibility of words, logos, and sanity of the mind, logic. We have to use those things. We have everything within ourselves. Our body is really amazing. It's the greatest tool for everything. It's the bridge between two worlds, and it's giving us always everything that is perfect for us at that particular moment, for growth, for learning, for gaining wisdom, for understanding what's happening. And we may see in ourselves and in others those moments when people are wrong and cannot admit it, and also when people are right and nobody can stand it. We may see these very, very strongly, and we will have to adjust, to find a new way, to find a different way. And this is Gemini energy. It's light energy, it's curiosity, and it can be light as a feather. So we now have the ability to feel our mind light as a feather, to feel the lightness of our mind, to work on creating that feeling of being light as a feather with our thoughts, not feeling that heaviness of thought. Because remember, this heaviness becomes real when we give it too much attention and when we identify with those thoughts. But remember the clouds in the sky, and we will have this sense of many realities and of many different personalities within ourselves, and that's completely fine. If we feel that we are like 10 different people, or 20 or 30 or 100, or no matter how many, that's normal, because we definitely carry multiple personalities within ourselves. We are not the same person in the morning, we are not the same person in the evening, we are not the same person with our parents, we are not the same persons with our friends, we are not the same when we are alone. So these things are completely normal, and we will have to see that we definitely have multiple personalities, but there is that one essential immortal part of us that sees everything, that records everything. That is this sky behind those clouds. That is that pure consciousness that just has everything that it needs. So we already have that as well. We just have to stay away from distractions, stay away from irrelevant data, junk food when it comes to mental state of being, but also all the junk. Let's work on that purity all the time. We have to have continuous routine and habit to cleanse ourselves, to heal ourselves, to make ourselves pure. Purity is the key now, forever. Not only now, it's always, but now it will be very much needed, much more than at other times. And with this, I would finish this forecast for this full moon in Gemini, and I want to thank you all for your amazing support and comments, and for being there, for being the greatest community that I know, really. I am very, very amazed by everything that together here we can share and connect and impact each other in a positive and constructive way, in an awakening way. And I invite you all to check our Moon Omens website, check those great articles written by Lucrezia, our other astrologer in Moon Omens team, and check out the whole content on the website created by the whole Moon Omens team that we are all together working on. And when I say together, I'm not thinking only on the team of Moon Omens, but on all of you, on all of us who are involved and included. I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.